Learning circle strafe stabbing can be a pretty tricky endeavor. If you're trying to learn or get good at it, it'll certainly reveal how deep the entire playstyle goes. If you're trying to figure out why you suck at circle strafing, this is the video for you. First of all, the biggest and most important thing is watching the tutorials. And in order to have a stable mental grasp of these ideas, you need to watch the tutorials by Dude. I know they're long, but if you think about it, you could definitely binge watch the whole series in one or two of your regular gaming sessions. What most people don't understand is that the trade-off is extremely fair. You get knowledge you can use for the rest of your time in game, in exchange for a session or two. The most common reason people fail is because they don't watch the tutorials in their entirety. They sometimes skim through or skip parts they deem unnecessary. You need to provide your full attention while watching them. This means no messing around in a call with friends, no letting it play in the background while pubbing or something, and most importantly, no zoning out, only to zone back in and realize you have no idea what's being talked about. Most of the people I've spoken to who have watched the tutorials don't end up giving their full attention to it 100% of the time. The reason the tutorials are so important is because they're jam-packed with essential nuanced information that you'll want to remember for future situations. Even I learned something new from rewatching them. If there is one thing you take away from this video, it should be this. Circle strafing is not a stab. It is a system used to categorize players. Each of the categories of the system is just a piece of a bigger picture. If you don't know all the criterion, you can't expect to accurately categorize anything. It's that missing knowledge that leads people to create gross misunderstandings and consequently drop the whole system. There are 7 levels. Forgetting even one of them can royally mess you up. Let's say you only learn level 1, the trademark circle strafe. You keep going for it, and it doesn't work for some reason. You try a whole bunch of different stabs, only to fail, not realizing that the one person you were facing was actually on level 4. You can't expect to stab anybody if you don't fundamentally understand how they're moving. No one you meet will be identifiable to you if you don't know all the levels, making the entire thing pointless without a full understanding. Have a look at this. It's really important not to run at players like this. Realizing that stabs only happen at a certain range is crucial. You need to try to get to that range however you can. Maybe you bait the enemy to you with your gun, maybe you close that distance by moving in with your gun, or maybe you could do something completely different. However, the gun is always available to you, so it should always be on your mind. Another thing you should keep in mind is that trying to avoid getting stabbed is different from trying to avoid getting shot. Typically, players aren't focused on getting too much distance from you when they're dodging a hit scan weapon, so the gun is always a good option. It's also important to know that this works the other way around. Once you pull your knife out, people tend to move in a straight line when trying to get away from you, and sometimes this can give you a nice and easy shot. By far, the best way to rapidly improve your gameplay is clipping. Clipping your failures not only helps with circle strafing, but general gameplay. There are 2 main reasons to clip: mistake prevention and identification. Having the ability to notice a mistake in post and really meditate over it drastically reduces your chances of repeating that same mistake, especially when viewed repeatedly across time. Briefly experiencing your mistakes in game and continuing to play doesn't really give you enough time to absorb all the information. Sometimes you don't even realize whether it was a mistake on your part or not. As for identification, watching clips of people you don't understand and or can't stab is the best way to iron out your understanding of circle strafing. Getting a second opinion is super helpful and is greatly encouraged. Reviewing a clip with a member of the community or a friend of yours who is also learning can greatly speed up your progress. When reviewing a clip of a player you don't understand over and over again and comparing it to your other clips, you'll slowly be able to pick up on the nuances of that kind of movement, and be able to see it as a part of a whole rather than a specific interaction. Eventually, you'll be able to determine someone's level at a glance. When you watch something over and over, often in slow motion, your eye develops to a point where noticing patterns in a person's strafe in real time becomes trivial. So, to summarize what we went over in just a few key points, watching the tutorials is essential, as well as realizing that you're not learning one stab, but an entire system that is dependent on you understanding not some, but all of its parts. And as we reviewed the basics, we learned that managing your distance is always going to be key in the outcome of your fights. And finally, and most importantly, understanding that clipping can rapidly improve your gameplay, iron out the gaps in your understanding of the system, and develop your eye. Hopefully this video has been helpful, especially to those of you who are interested or have quit trying to learn. Or, hopefully it'll act as a springboard to those of you who are new to this. All that's left for you now is the execution. It's a bit more than just opening up the game and playing, but hopefully you feel as inspired as I was when I was first learning to go through with it. Why not give this system a shot? You never know what might become of it. I'll see you guys in game, or at the Discord, where me or members of the community will answer questions and exchange clips with you. That's all. Take care, guys.